Hi there, Paul Collins from SkillsTX to take you through this employee or worker user experience demo within the SkillsTX system. So let's have a look at what we've got in store. We have 5 chapters in this video. We're going to start where it all starts, which is usually a self-assessment, and then we'll introduce this concept of counting to 3. It'll make sense when you see it. The self-assessment is what we would consider to be a provisional version of your skills. You then get a login to what we call the planner, where you can review your profile. We'll have a look at what that looks like. You can then overlay your current or your future skill requirement, usually a job or a role, with your skills and look at the variance. You can load evidence to support your skill profile, maybe to request approval of your profile with leadership. And of course, once we know the variance between what you have and what you need, we can start making really good decisions about action plans and collaborating with your leadership about your ongoing future career development. Okay, so we're going to start with the self-assessment, and we'll look at where that begins with the invite. Okay, so there's 2 basic ways that you'll get an invite from the system. One is that you've been set up by someone in your organisation and they've sent an invite out to you. This email that you can see here will be tailored to whatever your organisation finds useful. So you can have your own links to tutorials and user guides and why you asked to do an assessment. But the main thing here is this hyperlink that's going to take us through to your surveys. The other way you can receive an email is if the self-registration has been switched on, so you can register, put your details in, and you'll get a very similar email. So what does that look like after you click the link? It looks like this, and we've immediately got this 1, 2, 3 concept. So complete the surveys below, then you'll get a report out the system, a PDF of your skills, like a digital CV, and then you can start planning your career moves. Scroll down here, a little bit of information about the surveys, basically just work through them. Depending how it's been set up, the questions will be different, but if I just click on one of these, I'll do this one here, checking whether I've watched the tutorial. It's always good to know what you're getting into. This is the Sophia category of delivery and operation, so that's fine, so it makes sense what that is. Get started. Here's a skill. Incident management, tells me what it is, coordinating responses. I can go and get loads of additional information, and at this point I can say no, I don't do it, I don't recognize it, and it will take me to the next one, or I can say yes, and it will take me to a more detailed description of a skill level. So this is the activities that are required to be performed. So read the detail there, and then I've got 4 choices. Doesn't match me, I know a little bit about it, or I've done it a long time ago. So knowledge, proficiency with a very clear description of what we mean. You've still got something to learn, you're still practicing, you might be getting coached, but you're actually applying some of this. And when you become competent, basically that skill is fully developed and you don't need to develop it any further. And basically you just keep working through. So that's the self-assessment. You do it once, ever, never again. After that, we get into the profile. So one we prepared earlier. Here's a user, quite fully populated user. They've been through the self-assessment. If I scroll down, they're actually on version 2, so they've already made some edits. Across the top here, 1, 2, 3, as I said before, these are fully interactive. I hover, it tells me what it means. I've even got a link to a training course. If I click it, it's opened up in edit mode, and now I can make changes, etc. Down here in the other skills, I get the full description, and I've got the same choices I had in the surveys. So that's what it looks like when I'm in edit mode. Here, across the top, progress indicators. Mayfing is doing a really good job in a project support role. Up at 67% match. Algorithm calculates that. Future wants to be a project manager, but obviously quite a bit of work to do there. And a couple of actions over here that are, there's a good one, agile project planning, that's due to be completed by that date. If I click on it, give me the details. Okay, so let's keep moving on. The profile, let me just explain it. Solid boxes are what have been indicated by you as the user. Couple of things here, there is standouts. 3 dots means I can add more detail. So if my communication style is storytelling, this has been set up by my organization. I can even go and see what that means, or I can click it and select it and say my communication is storytelling. Further down, I've got all these other options as well. See a whole host of methods and tools, so I can select the ones that are relevant to me. Sophia is agnostic, so that's a description of that skill, but I can overlay that with all that additional technology. And this is how we represent skills. Knowledge, one of the options, horizontal stripes, diagonal stripes for proficiency, solid box for competency. Okay, evidence and comparing profiles. So let's do the comparison piece, which is chapter 3. What I'm going to do, I'm going to overlay Mayfing's current job with her skills. Now I've got these solid light blue boxes, legend down here. Solid blue box is a required skill, stripe box is desirable, and these indicators are telling me where I match. Okay, so if I scroll down here, look, hover on this, you do not have a required skill as competent at the level needed. I'm proficient, I can see that, but I'm not competent. So some development needed there. From here, I can add actions. We'll have a look at that in the next chapter, and I can also add evidence. So let's have a look at adding evidence. If I click on one of these, here we go. Well, now I've got a skill, add evidence. I can work out what that is. I can load up certificates. I can load up, success for exam passes. I can load up reference documents. You can see up here I've got all these different options for what I can load. Again, this is defined by your organization. These are the defaults. I can upload files, I can put hyperlinks, I can put notes, I can put expiry dates, when I completed, all of that to provide really solid evidence. However, what I can also see here is that we've got these little indicators that are showing. I'm just going to switch off the comparison for a second. So these little indicators here saying there's supporting evidence already available. So there you go, that's some evidence. Details of a certificate training course that I did. Then I scroll further down and we see a slightly different one here that says protected evidence. If I click on that, that's evidence that someone else has added, in this case my manager, to say that they've got great feedback from the project managers that I support, and therefore I can't edit it because someone else added it. So very quick way of adding evidence or looking at evidence that's already there. Let's move on to actions. I'll do the overlay again. This time I'll do the future role, much more options for us to select from here. So if I click on this here, add action, I can go and create an action by collaborating, asking my manager, what do you think I should do? We've got all of these different options. Maybe I need to go and work in the PMO alongside a project manager, or I can see if there's some already loaded, and in this case there is. So I've got all of this to choose from. I can look at information, see what it involves, probably collaborate with leadership and say, yes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on this analysing risk course, select it, put a description in, and save it as an action. So I didn't need to do anything other than ask the system, is there something that might help me develop that skill? So adding actions, building up the action plan, and finally, of course, I can look at my action plan in totality. I've also got a career coach that I can use if the AI has been enabled, so I can even ask it questions about what I can do to develop skills. You can see if there's any completed, there aren't. I can move them along in terms of their progress, and I can print them out as well. And likewise, exactly the same with evidence. I can look at it in its totality. Here, protected evidence was created by Raphael. I can show it, but I cannot edit it because I didn't create it, and this one I can edit. So let's just go back and just finish off with the slides. So we've covered everything. I'll just one final thing. I've been talking about leadership all along. I don't know if you noticed, but across the top here I can see who it is that I've got relationships with. Basically just one person, and they're my manager. Come back here, and just an offer for anyone that watches these demos. Scan the QR code, or scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you can sign up for our talent management maturity assessment. 10 to 15 minutes, 60 pages of output, benchmarks in terms of how you're managing talent compared to the industry at large. So I encourage you to do that. Otherwise, book a call and we'd be more than happy to discuss your requirements in detail. Thanks again.